Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me for WLBT Plus. My name is Cara Shirley, and I'm your digital news desk host here on this Monday, the 9th of September. Did you guys get out and enjoy the weather this weekend? It was absolutely gorgeous. Took my family and my dogs out for a run and a walk along the Natchez Trace. It was really nice. I didn't do any running. I just did the walking. I let the dogs do the running. But it was a great weekend. I hope you got to get out there and enjoy it. We do have a lot of stuff to get to with you today. First of all, if you are watching on our app or through our website, WLBT.com, thank you so much for joining me today. And if you are watching on our social media channels or you want to join the conversation here, you can watch us on YouTube, you can watch us on Facebook. And if you have any comments, questions, thoughts, or anything like that, you can leave that in the comments section. If you are watching on any of our social channels right now, let me know where you're watching from. I like to see where everybody is tuning in from. Before we jump into the news, let's take a look outside real quick over downtown Jackson. It is absolutely a picturesque day out there. This is our sky camera, courtesy of Jackson Water. Beautiful day out there, but unfortunately, we are expecting some rain by way of a tropical system. We're going to have Peyton in here with us today here in just a little bit to talk about that. Give you a little bit of a more in-depth, detailed look at at the tropics and your forecast. But we will also have our 2:30 show today with our weather team, and they are going to be giving you a real in-depth look at the tropics and what we can expect over the next few days. So make sure you're tuning in at 2:30 today to talk with Dave and Peyton from our First Alert weather team. Now, let's go ahead and jump into the news, jump into what is happening. And the current situation that we are dealing with right now in Jackson is a kidnapping suspect is in a standoff with police. The latest information that we have is that this suspect, and I'm gonna pull the video up for you here. Here we go. This is just some pictures that we have from this situation that was taken earlier today. So a SWAT team and the U.S. Marshals are on the scene of a subject who has barricaded himself inside of a Jackson home. The home is located on Ridgewood Road in North Jackson, and I have that pulled up for you here on a map for you to look at so you can know exactly where this is located at. And here we go. Here. All right. So this orange line right here, this is the area in which the situation is happening. We have Old Canton Road here, and this is in the 500 block of Ridgewood Road here in Jackson. It looks like it's at the Pearl at Highland Village Apartments where this is happening. So the home again located on Ridgewood Road in North Jackson, and according to Jackson Police, which as a matter of fact, Chief Wade gave us this information when we were at a press conference about the officer involved shooting. But there was a kidnapping warrant out for this individual's arrest. When the U.S. Marshals went to apprehend him, he did barricade himself inside of the home. He is currently non-compliant, and they did say that he does have a weapon. But this is a developing story. We do have someone out there. We've spoken with Chief Wade again today, and or since this happened, and not sure at this moment if it is still an active scene. I'm not sure exactly what is going on over there just yet, but we're working to get that information. And hopefully I'll get it in before the end of today's show. If not, though, make sure you are tuning in to our newscast later tonight so you can get all of the information on that. And if you do live in that area or you are going to be traveling through that area, maybe try to avoid it for the next a little bit. So, but it is a kidnapping suspect they attempted to take him into custody, attempted to arrest him. It was the U.S. Marshals there in Jackson Police Department, and he ended up barricading himself inside the home. So we're going to get you some more information on that as soon as we get it in. Looking here at the comments, Melissa saying, hello, how are you doing? I'm doing great, Melissa. Thank you so much for tuning in. Sheila, hi Sheila, how are you doing? She's asking, officer involved shooting, is the kidnapping a domestic violence incident or a random person? So we're not exactly sure of who the individual that is in this that has barricaded themselves. We're not sure who he has been charged or what have you with kidnapping. We just know that there was a kidnapping warrant out for him, and they attempted to take him into custody, and that's when he barricaded himself in. The officer involved shooting is not related to the kidnapping suspect that is in the standoff with the police right now. We are working to get more information, more details on that for you, and we will bring them just as soon as we can. Now let's talk about the officer involved shooting that happened here in Jackson over the weekend. It happened yesterday, and here is where it happened. It happened in the 2100 block of Jamestown Way. So Jamestown Way is just a little loop here. It's actually right off of Ridgewood Road, but this is it right here. If we pull out, you can see we have the at-home store here. Here's the mall right up here over in the Ridgeland area. Got I-55 here. Zoom out even farther, you can see where this is in relation to downtown Jackson. Downtown Jackson is going to be down here at the bottom center of your screen, and way up here is where the officer involved shooting happened. So according to Chief Wade in the press conference that he gave today, the Jackson Police Department were called out to this location on Jamestown Way because of a domestic violence incident. When the police officer arrived, the suspect attempted to hit the police officer with his vehicle. It was at that time that the police officer pulled his weapon and fired his weapon, hitting the suspect. The suspect did get shot. He was taken to a local hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. The police officer also sustained injuries to his leg and foot area. He did go to the hospital. Chief Wade did say that this officer was a newer officer. However, he has high marks and praise from those who are over him, directly over him. I'm looking at my notes from the press conference for this. So they both, the suspect and the officer, are expected to recover. The suspect did not have life-threatening injuries. The officer got injured in the leg and the foot area. And Chief Wade said they're going to make sure that this officer is physically, emotionally, and mentally ready to come back to duty once the investigation is done by Mississippi Bureau of Investigations. Jackson Police Department will also be doing an internal investigation on the shooting just to make sure that everything was done according to proper procedures. The suspect's name has not yet been released, and neither has the police officer who was involved in this. His name has not been released either. But we are going to get that information as soon as it is released, and we'll pass it along to you. We know right now the suspect is still in the hospital. Not sure if the police officer is still in the hospital, but we do know that the suspect is. Chief Wade says that as soon as he is released, he will be taken into custody by the Jackson Police Department. And Chief Wade said that he will be held accountable for what happened here. Chief Wade also said that if you have any information regarding this, if you live in that area, if you have security cameras, Ring doorbell cameras, you guys familiar with this? I say it all the time. But if you have any of that information, if you have something where you can show anything to the police department, you can contact Jackson Police Department 601-960-1234 or contact Crime Stoppers 601-355-TIPS. That's 601-355-TIPS, TIPS. So you can contact the Jackson Police Department if you have anything to be able to help with the investigation of this. Looking here, looking at our comments here. Appreciate all of you guys tuning in. Andrew saying low down, dirty shame. And you know what? It is. Anytime a situation happens to where anybody gets injured, anybody gets shot, Chief Wade says they don't want this to happen. An officer involved shooting is not the goal at the end of the day, especially when an officer goes to a situation. Pulling out their weapon is the last thing they actually want to do. They are trained to de-escalate situations. And unfortunately, this happened to be a situation that apparently or allegedly required the officer to pull his weapon. So we'll wait for NBI to get their investigation done. They'll release their findings, and as soon as we hear that information, we'll pass it along to you guys. We told you over the weekend about a woman in Natchez that was killed. Well, now a teenager is in custody and is accused of shooting the 41-year-old woman in Natchez. So, according to the Adams County Coroner's Office, Dambrell Thomas was shot in the chest on yesterday afternoon on George F. West Boulevard in Natchez. The Natchez Democrat is reporting that the shooter was only 17 years old and that he used a possibly modified 12-gauge shotgun. The teen had gotten into an argument with someone at the home earlier the day and later returned with the gun. He was arrested after reportedly barricading himself inside of an old school building. His father is the one that convinced him to come out and surrender, and he is expected to be charged as an adult. Our thoughts and our prayers are with the family there, Dambrell Thomas, who lost her life, and also with the family of the teenager. It's got to be a very hard thing to have to go through on both sides of the fence. Could not imagine it. In Pearl yesterday, you probably heard about this, the accidental shooting that happened at Cracker Barrel in Pearl. Thankfully, it was nothing serious. Thankfully, no one got hurt, but it could have been a lot worse. So the shooting happened yesterday at the Cracker Barrel in Pearl. Police are saying that someone inside the restaurant had a gun that was accidentally discharged. They do say that no one was hurt in this. They are investigating to determine if any charges should be filed. They also posted a reminder on social media that anyone who carries a concealed weapon should do so as safely and as cautiously as possible. So just got another update from our reporter who is out there on the scene where the suspect has himself barricaded in a home on Ridgewood Road here in Jackson. And they're saying that it is still an active scene out there. So try to avoid that area if at all possible. Let me pull it back up on the map for you guys. Old Canton Road is right here. This right here, the orange section, is Ridgewood Road, and this is where the apartments are located that the man has himself barricaded in. So if you are traveling, if you have to go in that area, try to avoid it right now. Number one, it's going to slow you down. Number one, keep you out of a possible danger zone. Let's put it that way. So try to avoid that situation in that area if you can. Let me see. Sheila's saying the scenes with kidnapping and barricades can take hours. Yes, it can. Yes, and hopefully that doesn't happen. Hopefully something positive comes out of this. And hopefully he surrenders without any kind of altercations or anybody getting injured in this situation. We told you last week about the man who police were looking for him. JPD was looking for him. He was accused of killing his mother. So he was arrested this weekend, and we do have some exclusive video of the arrest that was taken by one of the victim's family members. Here it is here for you on the screen. So his 42-year-old Jerry Banks was arrested around 11 o'clock Saturday morning by JPD and their action unit. He's charged with murder, burglary of an occupied dwelling, and domestic aggravated assault. We first reported this incident to you last week when police found his mother, 63-year-old Louise Banks Torrance, dead there on Carver Street. The cause of death was told to be blunt force trauma. It is an ongoing investigation. And if you have any information on this crime, please contact Jackson Police Department. Again, their number is 601-960-1234. But he has been taken into custody. Thankful for that. Now let's come and talk about some pay raises for our police officers here in Jackson. So Jackson police officers appear to be one step closer to getting some pay raises within the next fiscal year. which is good, very good. So the City Council Finance Committee approved across the board pay raises for police officers. Police will see their salary increases ranging from $1,500 to $2,000. Firefighters are going to see salary increases of ranging from $4,500 to $5,500. And that puts firefighters closer to making what police officers make. The Jackson City Council is now set to vote on the overall budget today. Raises could go into effect October 1st when the new fiscal year begins. I think that is a great thing for the firefighters, for the police officers of Jackson, for them to be getting raises. They put their life on the line for us every day, and I'm glad to see them getting an increase in pay. We told you last week about the unfortunate death of an inmate at the Central Mississippi Correctional Facility. Authorities right now believe that his death was caused by a drug overdose. So MDOC says Juan Gonzalez, that is the inmate's name, he died last Thursday afternoon after an apparent substance overdose. We told you then about the Department of Health teams coming in to the prison. MDOC says that's because the substance was unknown at the time that they discovered him. Gonzalez was serving a 4-year sentence for multiple charges in Hinds County, which included possession of meth, fleeing a law enforcement officer, and burglary. So that is the individual unfortunately lost his life, and it's crazy to think that he could die from a substance overdose in jail. But what we have seen and what you guys have commented a lot to me when we were talking about the stories, how it's easier to get drugs in jail sometimes than it is on the street. So I don't know that for sure. I'm just repeating what you guys have said. Looking here at our comments, Donna Miller saying that she is glad he's captured. Yes, I'm very glad for that as well. We have Peyton coming in, and just to give let's give a little good transition. Let me show you what's going on outside right now with the over Jackson, sitting over Jackson. And Peyton, I'm a little taller than you. Let me give you a little thing to stand on.
I'm used to it at this point.
Are you? Okay. So here we are. We got Peyton here with me. And Peyton, we brought you in today to talk about the tropics. We got that weather coming in.
I know. I mean, it's so beautiful out today. It was so nice out this
Get
weekend.
you a little closer. Sorry.
No, you're fine. It's just hard to believe that we have these big changes heading our direction within the next couple of days. I think tomorrow's weather even is still pretty nice.
Is it? Hopefully so.
Despite more clouds increasing overhead. But, Wednesday into Thursday, we do have some impactful weather heading our direction. We have first alert weather days in place for Wednesday and Thursday. So, it's really important that we're checking in for updates leading into Wednesday and Thursday for any changing details, information, and, now's the time to prepare. I don't think we need to go out and, buy up all of the bread and the milk. That's not going to be the case,
That is the craziest phenomenon.
Everyone always does it. And the weirdest thing is that, those things can go bad pretty quickly.
Yes.
So why do we always go get the milk and the bread?
So you can have
if
milk
the power's
sandwiches.
Out, how are you going to keep the milk cold?
Milk sandwiches is what you get with that.
Exactly.
Well, let's pull up the weather so you can give everybody a little look at that. I know we're doing a little different than what we normally do in here. So give us just a second.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. There we go. There you go.
So, Wednesday and Thursday are first alert weather days for impacts from Francine, which is now a tropical storm. This was potential tropical cyclone 6, but we now have a well-defined center of circulation within the system. So that is why it is now considered a tropical storm. And out ahead of its arrival, we have alerts already in effect for the entire Louisiana coastline. So these are just to our south. They include hurricane watches, tropical storm watches. I wouldn't be surprised if leading into, overnight Wednesday into Thursday, we saw maybe some sort of alerts in effect for parts of the area, whether that's a tropical storm warning or even a tropical storm watch. This is the latest forecast track from the National Hurricane Center. We expect it to make landfall probably Wednesday evening along the central portion of the Louisiana coastline. From there, it probably moves directly overhead. This is taking into account the center of circulation where we have the forecast cone. Impacts can be felt outside of the cone. So I don't want you to get confused. If your location is outside the forecast cone, that you're not going to see any impacts at all. That's not going to be the case. It's just representing where that center of circulation will track overhead. Heavy rainfall will probably be the main threat with Francine. We have a moderate risk in place for flooding Wednesday into Wednesday night for most of the area, really south and west of Metro Jackson. A lot of rain could fall within a short amount of time, maybe upwards of 4 to 6 inches of rain. So flash flooding is going to be one of the primary threats. And we also could see some pretty breezy winds as well. Tropical storm force winds are going to be a possibility, especially the farther south and west that you go. Some of those could spread farther north, where you can see there's a 14% chance as of now for tropical storm force winds over 39 miles an hour here in Jackson. The percentages, of course, go higher up the farther south and west, where the system's going to be stronger just prior to making landfall. So high winds, heavy rainfall, the main threats, but we could also see a severe risk as well with maybe tornadoes.
Yeah.
When we get these tropical systems on the eastern side of the center of circulation, we can get these brief spin up tornadoes. So that's also going to be a concern as well overnight Wednesday and early Thursday. Right now, a marginal risk in place for our southernmost areas. So I know it's a lot that I'm saying right now. But I just want everyone to stay weather aware and just checking back in for updates. You're prepared for the potential of maybe seeing some power outages. I don't think we're going to see prolonged power outages. It's going to be a much weaker system when it's passing through, but we could see some breezy winds, heavy rainfall, and maybe even a few isolated tornadoes. So a lot to pack within, the next couple of days, but I mean, yeah,
it is. We know it's going to happen. You know that the storms are going to come. It's normal. We always hope that we miss them.
I know. The one good thing I can share is that, Louisiana is going to see the brunt of the impacts. It's going to be making landfall probably as a low-end hurricane. By the time it gets to our area, it's going to be making that land interaction. So it should be a weaker system. So I don't expect to see, hurricane force winds here locally.
Yeah.
But we're going to see impacts nonetheless.
Are we thinking that it's going to increase anything beyond a Category 1 hurricane?
We've seen some model indications that, it may make landfall in Louisiana as a Cat 2. It highly depends on how much time it spins over water. The more time it has to, stay over the warm Gulf waters, it could strengthen even more. If it's a faster moving system, it may not have that time. So that is something a variable that, it has to take into account. But I think Cat 1, Cat 2, I really don't see it intensifying any more than that. If we were talking about this spending, several days over the Gulf of Mexico, we could be talking about a higher end hurricane, but I'm thinking Cat 2 is probably the highest end ranking that we may see it.
Okay.
But right now it's Category 1 from the National Hurricane Center, so that's what we're going to go off of. And we still have some time to see that, verify.
Awesome. Well, Dave and Peyton are going to be back in here at 2:30 today to give us a more in-depth look at this, and of course our forecast outside of the possibility of the hurricane and everything.
Yeah. And once we get really Thursday night, Friday, that's when our weather quickly improves. So we're thinking late Wednesday night into about the first half of our Thursday is probably going to be the roughest of weather. So hopefully we can get past that, and we're smooth sailing this weekend. The weather looks pretty nice. So.
Nice. Looking forward to hearing about that. Thank you so much, Peyton. So let's look outside again. Give Peyton a chance to step off gracefully. No. Thank you, Peyton. All right. So let's tell you about some other stuff that has happened here. I told you Friday. You probably remember talking about Talimara Hall, is being closed. We told you, reported when it first closed, and there's been a lot of shows that was supposed to happen there. We had the Kevin Hart show that was supposed to happen here this month. Well, unfortunately, that show has now been canceled. So he had 2 shows that were scheduled for September 22nd, and those have been canceled. They're saying if you have bought tickets, you can get your money back. So just before his announcement, 3 on Your Side spoke exclusively with the auditorium manager, Angie Ladner. Angie says that she had been trying to warn city officials for months about the problems there at the hall. And she says she was sending over what she described as 911 emails on everything from the sinking orchestra pit to the broken elevator. So these pictures from a public inspection report show the fungal growth that was discovered. And Ladner says brakes for the stage's rigging system had also failed at least twice. Let you hear from her.
Everything has just been, and I'm screaming at the top of my lungs. Emailing, weekly reports, everything. Boom, 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 waving my hand. But meanwhile, we're slammed. We're in the middle of the symphony season, Broadway. We were slammed all year.
So Mayor Lumumba is expected to address the concerns about Talimara Hall during a news conference this afternoon. We will be there, and we will bring you all of that, what he says and the updates on this tonight during our newscast. Make sure you tune in for those. Looking here at the comments, Sheila is asking if the buses, the JTran, still on strike. Sheila, I believe they are. I have not gotten an update on that, but I will check into that and let you know as soon as we get done here today. Now we're going to go tell you guys about an update we received on the Georgia shootings, the school shooting that happened there where 4 people lost their life. 2 teachers and 2 students lost their life at the hands of another student, 14-year-old student. Well, we have learned since then that the mother of the suspected shooter, who is accused of killing the people, that she reportedly called a school counselor with the warning before the attack. We're told that Marcy Gray, which is the mother's name, called the school at 9:50 on the morning of last Wednesday's attack. So at 9:50 that morning, she described an extreme emergency involving her 14-year-old son. And 20 minutes later is when the teen allegedly opened fire inside of the Appalachian High School, which is right outside of Atlanta. Gray's sister, Annie Brown, the mother's sister, she confirmed that the mother did call the school. They share a phone plan, says that she was able to view the call logs that were made that day. And she confirmed that the mother did, in fact, call the school. So like we said, 2 teachers, 2 students were killed that day. 9 other people suffered injuries during the shooting. And it is still also unclear when classes are going to be resuming there. The principal sent a letter to parents and the students on yesterday, saying that school leaders are trying to determine the next steps for students and the staff. Students, however, will be allowed to retrieve their belongings sometime this afternoon, but the school is still trying to figure out the best way forward. 2 teachers, 2 students killed there, 9 others injured. Now, right now, what is happening is the suspect and his father are both facing murder charges. We learned that the suspect last year had been investigated for some threats or some things that he had done, something that was kind of still along the same lines of what he ended up or allegedly did last Wednesday. But the father and the suspect are now in custody facing murder charges. And I'm interested to know what you guys think about that. A lot of times the sins of the child are not always the sins of the parent. Sometimes it is just a child or a son or a daughter making wrong decisions that has nothing to do with their upbringing or anything like that. But however, this father seems to have been aware of issues in the home, and it was part of when they got investigated last year. And so now he is facing charges as well. Do you think that is something that a precedent should be set for that? We know about another school shooting that happened, and unfortunately, I can't remember exactly where it happened, but the mother and the father of the shooter faced charges, and I believe they got sentenced in that. Is this something that we should keep doing going forward as a justice system, not just here or random places when the country should, but should this be something that is a permanent precedent that gets set for situations like this? I'm really interested to hear what you guys think on that. And then we also told you yesterday about a mass shooting that happened in Kentucky. A manhunt is underway now for the man that is suspected of shooting at cars along Interstate 70 over the weekend. So, this is the individual right here that they are looking for on your screen. Authorities are saying that 5 people were shot, 12 vehicles were hit by gunfire Saturday along the interstate. All 5 people, thankfully, are expected to survive, and authorities are calling it a sniper like situation. And they say they are looking for 32-year-old Joseph Couch. This is Joseph here on your screen, looking for him as a suspect after they found his car near the shooting scene and a semi-automatic gun allegedly used in the shooting. They found that with the car. The manhunt is taking place in a heavily wooded area, which is about 75 miles south of Lexington, Kentucky. So our thoughts and our prayers are with all of those that were shot and were injured. Thankfully, there were no life-threatening injuries. Thankfully, they will physically or should physically recover, but the mental anguish of that, the trauma that comes from that, I couldn't imagine. Coming back here to Mississippi, to some kind of sad yet still good news, I guess. It depends on how you want to look at it. We know that the Mississippi Braves played their final game in Pearl yesterday at Trustmark Park. Fans were packing the stadium there, packing the ballpark, and they got to see the Braves play. They were looking for a win, so the Smokies did not make that easy for them. So they eventually found their way home at the bottom of the 8th with a big hit from Cody Milligan. Unfortunately, though, when it was all over, the Mississippi Braves did lose their final game in Pearl with a final score of 10-3. But there were some fans that were still pretty excited to be there. They were lined up outside way before the first pitch was thrown, and the Braves made sure to thank them all. I think that is awesome. But we learned today in a press conference that there is going to be a new team coming to Pearl and coming to the Trustmark Park. This, let's see, the City of Pearl and the Trustmark Park officials revealed future plans for the stadium and the arrival of a new team following Mississippi Braves' final home series. So they played there for, almost 20 years, the Braves did. And they told us that this would be their last year. According to the Braves, around this is a big number. I want to make sure I say it right. 3,581,517 fans attended at least one Mississippi Braves game during their nearly 20-year tenure in Pearl. So the arrival of a new baseball team is coming with Frontier League. It's a professional baseball league, considered a MLB partner league, and that was announced during the home finale yesterday. So now you guys get to vote on the team name. This is where you come in. You get to name Mississippi's new baseball team. So there's some potential names that they have right now are Mississippi Mud Monsters, Mississippi Grits, and the Mississippi Soul Shakers. What do you think of those names? What would you feel the ones the easiest to cheer? Grits, when I hear the word grits, I think of the t-shirts that you say, like girls raised in the South, that used to be very popular. I don't know if any of you remember them. So I don't know if the grits would work in my mind, at least, but maybe in yours. Maybe you're a Mud Monster fan or a Soul Shaker fan, whichever. But let us know what you think. And then, of course, make sure you go vote for those names. The voting, let's see, what day is it? Is the 9th? Yes. So voting is going to take place through On Deck, which is a website, from September 9th to 27th. You can go there and you can vote. Do you want it to be the Mississippi Mud Monsters, the Mississippi Grits, or Mississippi Soul Shakers? You let us know. But that's the good news. It's good news for Trustmark Park. They're going to try to use it as a year-round venue, have a lot of different things going on there. And so it's good to see that it's not going to be sitting vacant, that it is going to be used for baseball, have a baseball team there, and then for other events as well. So it's very exciting to see that. I'm glad that that is happening. And you make sure you vote on the team name. That is going to be the end of WLBT Plus today. Don't forget, 2:30, Dave and Peyton are going to be here, and they're going to give you a update look on your forecast with the tropical system moving through and what we can expect. Of course, make sure you download the First Alert Weather app. That's going to give you all of the notifications that you'll need if there is severe weather that comes through our area. And also download the WLBT News app so that you can get updates on all the breaking news as it comes into us. We pass it along to you guys. Sheila, you have a blessed and wonderful day as well. Thank you so much. And make sure you are back here at 2:30, back tomorrow at 1. Watch our newscast tonight, and we will see you guys later. Bye.